Hello, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase. Listen to what I'm about to tell you. The window to invest in Fanbase is closing. We've raised over $10.6 million of our $17 million goal. That means there's room for less than 6,370 people to invest in Fanbase for the average amount. The minimum to invest in Fanbase right now is $399. That makes you an owner in Fanbase today. Go to startengine.com/fanbase to invest. Why? Because current social apps have taken advantage of users for far too long, with content suppression, shadow banning, harmful racist content, and no real tools for monetization and equity. Fanbase has over 1.4 million users and counting, allowing anyone to reach all their following and monetize their content from day one. Social media is the new TV, and whoever owns the apps that distribute that content have the opportunity to own potential billion-dollar companies. While big platforms with uncertain futures are failing to serve their users, Fanbase is stepping up to fill the gap. Don't wait until it's too late. Invest now, invest for yourself and your future. Go to startengine.com/fanbase and own the next generation of social media.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
Hold no punches!
I'm real revolutionary right now. Black power.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig? Hey, folks, today's Tuesday, August 26, 2025, coming up on Roland Martin Unfiltered, streaming live on the Black Star Network. Oh, my goodness. Donald Trump, he's targeting another black woman, this time Dr. Lisa Cook, the first black woman to serve on the Federal Reserve Board. He says he is firing her. She says, no, player, you don't have the authority to do so. We'll break this whole saga down. The latest attack on Black America. Also, the felon-in-chief, again for the second consecutive day, talks about being a dictator. I need y'all to stop playing games. He's not saying this stuff just because. Also, Donald Trump is busted lying about Governor Wes Moore. I told y'all, this man will lie about a lie. He wants to send National Guard to Chicago. Well, Catholic priest Michael Pfleger has some tough words for him. He will join us on today's show to talk about this decision. Plus, in tonight's marketplace, our shop BlackStarNetwork.com marketplace. We'll go straight to the pit with JohnTom's BBQ, a black-owned business with bold flavor and community involvement. It is time to bring the funk on Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Let's go.
He's got it. Whatever the miss, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the find. And when it breaks, he's right on time and it's rolling. Best believe he's knowing. Putting it down from sports to news to politics. With entertainment just for kicks, he's rolling. It's on go, roll, y'all. It's rolling Martin.
Well, folks, the twice-impeached, criminally convicted felon-in-chief Donald the Con Trump is attacking another black woman. We've made it clear this man does not like black people, especially black women. His latest target is Dr. Lisa Cook. You have allegations from one of Trump's housing appointees that Lisa Cook somehow committed mortgage fraud. It's an allegation. Has she been indicted? No. Has she been tried? No. Has she been convicted? No. But it doesn't matter to the thug-in-chief. He wants her fired. Last night, Trump sends a termination letter to her saying she was removed from her position for cause, citing allegations of mortgage fraud. The letter was dated August 15th. The Justice Department indicated it plans to investigate these claims. But here's the problem. He doesn't have the legal authority. Cook said so in her statement, firing back at this idiot. President Trump purported to fire me for cause when no cause exists under the law, and he has no authority to do so. I will not resign. I will continue to carry out my duties to help the American economy as I have been doing since 2022. Morgan Harper, the Director of Policy and Advocacy at the American Economic Liberties Project. Also joining us is Rhonda Foxx, founder of Persist. Really glad to have both of you here. I'll start with you, Morgan. Bottom line is this here. Dr. Lisa Cook, first African-American woman to serve on the Federal Reserve. And it's a 14-year appointment. She was confirmed by the United States Senate. Trump doesn't have the authority. But what has happened is he believes that he can do whatever he wants. I'm going to play a clip later where he literally says, I can do whatever I want as president of the United States. The Supreme Court has expanded the powers of the office of the president. And this is why this idiot is doing this, because this is his continual attack on the Federal Reserve, which he wants to run, even though it is independent or supposed to be independent of politics.
Absolutely. And I completely agree with you, Roland. I mean, there's no accident in the terms of the people he's choosing to target. Lisa Cook, Tish James, with these really bogus allegations of mortgage fraud, criminal activity. It's just it's nonsense. But the fact that they are both Black women that stand in the way of his authoritarian march to control the entire federal government is a problem for him. And what's the risk here? The Federal Reserve, it is independent pursuant to the law in Congress through the Federal Reserve Act, like you pointed out, and like we also heard from Governor Cook herself. The only way that you can get rid of her is for cause. What does that mean? It means that there's been some professional malfeasance is I think the actual term, meaning like something in the course of your job you did that was wrong, that ran counter to your obligations in that position. And that's nothing that is being discussed here. What is happening in the federal government, in speaking of laws that are being broken, is a lot of big corporations that have donated big money to Donald Trump are seeing lawsuits against them by the Department of Justice, by the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, just disappear or be settled for nothing. So it's clearly not a priority of this administration to go after actual breaking of the law. And when we look at this type of political agenda applied to an agency like the Federal Reserve, which is charged with really maintaining the financial stability of the country, it's not to say it's a perfect institution, means, but their charge is financial stability. It's looking out at the labor market movement there. It's controlling interest rates. It's controlling monetary supply. It's controlling our role in a very interconnected global economy at this point. The risk from this type of political activity is that we see real economic damage and harm done to us as people living in this country, small business owners, and ultimately our standing internationally.
Rhonda, you dropped a letter on social media. You said that Donald Trump's justification of unsubstantiated accusations of mortgage fraud, but let's be clear, this isn't about mortgages. It's a blatant attack on the Federal Reserve. Now, here's the deal, guys. Pull the clip up, because earlier today in that ridiculous cabinet meeting where it really was who can outdo one another kissing Donald Trump's ass, this issue of this mortgage fraud came up, and Donald Trump lied. He literally says in this clip we're about to play that, oh, people's mortgages, that's public information. Roll it. Guys, we don't have, I seem to get the clip, guys, because I want to play this, because it gives a perfect example of what I'm talking about here, Rhonda, where this liar, he sits before the public and he lies, knowing full well that is personal data, and his own housing guy, Pulte, who's been going after Jerome Powell, he's the one who threw out this allegation.
Yeah.
Rhonda, go ahead.
Okay, so I'm glad that you hit on Bill Pulte. I think when we look at this whole situation, and this did not begin with Lisa Cook. This is a playbook of attacking Black women that began before Fani Willis, but we really started seeing it with Fani Willis. We popped over to LA with Karen Bass. We're seeing A.G. James. Obviously, Kamala Harris has always been a victim of it, but now with Lisa Cook. And the real villain behind a lot of this is Bill Pulte, someone that a lot of people do not know about. They don't know about the agency that he has oversight of, but he is literally using the Federal Housing Finance Agency to go after individual citizens. That's not what that agency is for. That agency exists to look at Freddie Mac, other housing institutions all the way back from 2008 when that institution was created. So there's a couple of things that are really troubling. One, this playbook is being written on the backs of Black women. We know that attacking Black women, attacking women, it energizes the MAGA base. But what it also does for Democrats is it bifurcates our coalition. We say, race shouldn't matter. Race should matter. We spend time focusing on all of that because we have our own internal biases that we need to control. We're not going to step out and support and defend Black women, let alone, Roland, you know this better than anyone, 6 million Democrats set out in 2024 because they didn't want to support a Black woman. So by really doing this playbook on the back of Black women, he energizes his base. distracts our coalition, and he's able to put into place an authoritarian regime. And so we're just getting started. But this guy, Bill, is literally weaponizing an agency, using it to go after individuals on mortgage claims, not even anything substantiated. When you really look at mortgage fraud, it's very complicated. It's not oftentimes an intentional mistake. It tends to be a paperwork mistake. And so what we're seeing now is absolutely the worst of the worst. But it's also important to acknowledge race, because they are literally going to destroy democracy on the backs of Black women. They have written this playbook, and there is nobody coming to our defense in this moment.
They are going, Morgan, they're going after Letitia James, the New York State Attorney General, as well as Adam Schiff and also Lisa Cook. And to the point that she just made, what we're dealing with, we are dealing with thugs who want to exact retribution and revenge. And for all of the whining and complaining about, how President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris weaponize the government against him and Republicans, these people are 100% weaponizing the government, targeting their critics. Hell, he even said, because Chris Christie criticized him, that he was going to launch an investigation into Chris Christie. That's what these thugs are doing.
Absolutely. And I think that can kind of muddy the race element of this, because I completely agree. I mean, I think the targeting of folks like Tish James, like Lisa Cook here as Black women, is to play into, I mean, I completely agree with you. On the other hand, play into what the MAGA base we know is red meat for much of the MAGA base. And it also kind of like greases the wheels for the further takeover that will happen throughout the government. And it plays into this racial trope that somehow these women are not capable of managing their finances and so therefore shouldn't be in these positions of government. But again, it's complete nonsense. It's unsubstantiated. But I think that we do run the risk with some of our, even folks that maybe are part of our coalition, of trying to get in the weeds of defending what they may or may not have done with these mortgages. And it's like, no, right? Like, we should not be getting into what are the elements of mortgage fraud. Once we start talking about that, we are missing the larger point here, which is, yes, this administration is turned into a criminal enterprise. It only serves to reward those who are willing to do their bidding through cash. And they are willing to take down the whole institution of government with them and make it in whatever outcomes they're looking for. And so I think that's important, because it's not going to be enough to just point out that there is a racializing of what's happening here. We have to also point out the larger project to make sure that our folks are talking about this in the right way and not getting pulled into the real back and forth that they're looking for, which is distracting from the larger game that they're playing.
Right, but Rhonda, it's not either or. It's it's both. I mean, that's what's going on here. They are attacking their critics regardless, but they particularly want to attack African Americans. I've said this repeatedly, that these thugs, these maggots, they want to defund Black America. They want to tear down every single gain that we have seen in the past 60 years. And that means going after any African American who is in a high position who is not chosen to kiss Donald Trump's ass or his ring.
And here's the thing, too. They say as Democrats, we shouldn't focus on race. This is not about Lisa Cook's race. It very much is. And, what's happening by attacking the Federal Reserve, anyone out there, I don't care where you sit, what your politics are, you should be shocked. You should be alarmed. The Federal Reserve is the last standing independent institution. What makes the United States, why nations globally look to us as the dominant superpower, is because our central banks, are independent of politics. The Federal Reserve governors, they tend to serve, 14-year terms, specifically so that they not touched so much by politics. So to see a sitting president go after a governor on the Federal Reserve, not only is it going to tank our markets, but it's literally the next step to complete authoritarianism. But when you go after a Black woman who's coming to her aid, Again, we got to this position because 6 million of our own Democrats didn't want to vote for that black woman. So now they're not going to step up, take to the streets. MAGA's not going to step up and say, wait a minute, you're destroying my pockets because you're going after this black woman. It plays into their bigoted, misogynistic fears that, oh, they're coming for us. They got their job, from some DEI woke type thing. That's why we're seeing all of those narratives. But this is literally a ploy, a stunt, so that we are divided, we are blinded as he takes over the central bank. And that is literally potentially the end of democracy. And our bigotry is going to allow that to happen. You are building authoritarian regimes off the backs of black women in your bigotry. And that is something that all of us need to be loud about. We need to hold people accountable who are silent in this moment. And we need to be very fearful, especially as black people, that this is happening on your watch. And so anyone that doesn't want to answer, the call and support this black woman, this is going to destroy your pocket. The fact that the U.S. government has our private data, our mortgage data, and they are using that, weaponizing it against us, be alarmed. This is a problem.
Yeah, it is. And Morgan, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, the other thing to note about this is, how does Lisa Cook become a governor of the Federal Reserve Bank? That doesn't just happen. That means that you were part of the Federal Reserve banking system before. How do you become part of that? That's because financial institutions in the region where you're working choose you to be part of the Federal Reserve Bank, and then you get nominated and eventually confirmed by the United States Senate to become a governor of the National Federal Reserve. And so it's interesting, and I agree with Rhonda, that we aren't hearing more from financial institutions, leaders from the private sector that really were part of putting her in a position to become a governor, and now are just stepping back and being silent in the midst of this, despite the real economic harm that could stem from this politicization of government.
Well, listen, it's my God, it's 8 months in, and Rhonda, I keep warning people, it's not going to get better. It is going to get worse. And as long as these thugs are empowered, every time he says, oh, dictator, and national media doesn't make it a major issue, then they go, oh, we can go further. So what they're doing is very clear. They laid it out in Project 2025. They're executing this strategy, and the only thing that we have left is to fight this in the courts. And I keep saying this over and over and over again. There's not a single black person who can afford to sit out the next election, and that means every single Republican must be penalized at the ballot box because they are all complicit in allowing this thug, Donald Trump, to do what he's doing.
And Roland, I was on the campaign. I spent more time writing press statements. I was the head of the Women's Coalition about what Project 2025 would mean for all of us. We spelled this out. Capitulation and mainstream media did not, do its job to help us project that message. That's why shows like this support this show, support this platform, because this is the truth. But we knew this was coming. We tried to get this message out, and looking at this, where this man has literally built a administration of henchmen and henchwomen that will do his dirty bidding, regardless of the Constitution. We were warned about this. Now the fight is in the courts and at the ballot boxes, and it's time to really buckle down. We cannot sit this out.
I think we need to be real, though, too. And I agree with a lot of what you said, Rhonda and Roland, but the courts are unlikely to be our friend here. I mean, it is the case that, there was a Supreme Court case about the independence of other agency leads. It did seem like the Supreme Court was willing to respect that the Federal Reserve is unique. Hopefully they continue to do that. But we don't really have a lot of great evidence to go on there, though I'm very, very happy that she's just immediately suing the administration and challenging this illegal act from them. So I do think we also have to consider, that contrast of what is not happening? What are the like I was saying before, what are the types of crimes that they are very comfortable letting sail through and how they are impacting Americans' pocketbooks every day in a bunch of different industries. And I agree with you, Roland, it's only going to get worse. I think that has to be part of, I am not in charge of any political party, but if I were thinking about, how you message in this moment, I would be considering calling out, some of those entities that are just skirting by and are raising prices, in addition to all of the democratic threats and the risk of authoritarianism here that continues to grow.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we obviously can't, it's not like it's guaranteed to count on the courts, but what we have seen, though, we have seen many other federal judges, including Trump federal judges. The Trump-appointed federal judge just blasted their lawsuit against Maryland federal judges and throwing it out of court. Now, the Supreme Court bear will the backstop. But if this Supreme Court continues to allow this man to do whatever he want to do, they are risking people questioning their legitimacy. And again, so no matter what that happens, I still contend, and it is fundamentally important, that is, people are going to have to rebel at the ballot box. As long as people sit elections out, as long as they don't vote, as long as people complain on social media and don't vote, they are empowering these thugs. They are giving them the right to do what they want to do, and that simply has to stop. Morgan and Rhonda, I certainly appreciate y'all being on today's show. Thank you so very much.
Thanks for having us. Bye.
Going to a break. I'll be right back. Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
On the next Get Wealthy with me, Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, we talk about the principles of mindset, strategy, and execution. This week, we're adding a fourth, faith. You're going to hear from a mother and daughter duo who are helping thousands of Black women build wealth, all through their faith.
You are more than you can ever imagine. Not just obtaining things to show that, but seeing yourself.
Making your faith work for you. That's right here on Get Wealthy, only on Black Star Network.
I'm Russell L. Honoré, Lieutenant General, United States Army, retired, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
All right, folks, I want to bring in our panel right now. Lots to talk about. Dr. Mustafa Santiago Ali, former senior advisor for environmental justice at the EPA, joining us out of D.C. Randy Bryan, entrepreneur, author of Never Says, 25 Phrases You Should Never Ever Say to Keep Your Job and Friends, joining us. Well, I don't know if she's in D.C. Because, she's always somewhere. It looked like she had the crib. Last time she was all over the world, Joe Richardson, civil rights attorney. I know where she was. I just wasn't going to say it. I know where she was. Mackenzie hopping in my ear trying to tell me I ain't going to put the sister business out there. I'm just saying she uses her passport a lot. Joe Richardson, civil rights attorney out of L.A. Glad to have all three of y'all on today's panel. Oh, man, there's so much I got to deal with. So let's deal with this first. Do y'all have the mortgage fraud clip? Do y'all have it? Okay, all right. So again, Trump and his sycophants had their news conference today, and listen to this BS that was said.
When it comes to Fed Governor Lisa Cook, her lawyer has said that they're going to be filing a lawsuit challenging this legal action. What is your response? Are you prepared for a legal fight? And then a little bit more.
Oh, sure. Always. You always have legal fights. Look, I had a legal fight that went on for years with crooked people, with very horrible people that have been found out now between John Ratcliffe and Tulsi and Pam. And I mean, the things that we found out, of course, it's a very, very sad group of people. But no, she seems to have had an infraction, and she can't have an infraction, especially that infraction, because she's in charge of, if you think about it, mortgages, and we need people that are 100% above board, and it doesn't seem like she would.
Okay, so that was that, and then this fool made this comment when it came to bringing up again being a dictator.
But then he goes on television and says, oh, Trump is a dictator, he's a dictator. And a lot of people have so the line is that I'm a dictator, but I stop crime. So a lot of people say, you know, if that's the case, I'd rather have a dictator. But I'm not a dictator, I just know how to stop crime.
No, actually, you don't. You don't know how to stop crime, and you're not stopping crime. So that's a lie. But the thing here, Mustafa, that, again, we have to focus on, the repeated comments about being a dictator, what they're doing is they're waiting. And so the whole deal is, oh, well, if there's not going to be any real reaction from people, guess what? We can actually move closer to being a dictator.
Yeah, it's about socialization, right? You say things, you do things, and you see if it has a negative impact, and if folks don't speak out and push back and say these are not American values and we're not going to support it, then they take it another step further. And then they try it again, and they try it again until they see how far they can go. And then eventually people will look back and they'll no longer be able to find democracy inside of this country. You'll no longer find justice inside of this country. So they're just trying to socialize folks. And that's the reason he uses both his media platform. He uses the news also because they capture what he says and there's no real pushback. There's no real analysis. So this is a well thought out game. There is intentionality in each one of the things that they as a team do. And of course, he plays it out for America. So folks have a choice. When you see these types of things, you can call it out and say that you're not supporting it and not support it through your vote, not support it, through other mechanisms, or you can continue to watch the erosion of a set of values inside of our country that we're supposed to actually build the foundation on.
And they absolutely, Joe, they want to be a dictator. They want to ignore the law. That is their desire. We have seen this over and over and over again, and that's why people have to respond. They cannot be silent and not respond to these actions, whether it's the National Guard, whether it's just blowing up the law. I mean, that's what's going on here. And let's just be frank. They got in the office because too many people were asleep at the wheel and were saying, well, it wasn't that bad last time he was there, so we survived it, so we can survive it again. We're talking now about a completely different administration.
Yeah, ignore the law, ignore court orders, make up things. We'll talk about some of these other things that have come across recently. Make up an infraction and now say that the person on the Federal Reserve who you're trying to get rid of is potentially being investigated for an infraction, and therefore she needs to come off right away. Donald Trump doesn't like people. I don't think he likes smart people at all. Then he really doesn't like smart people that disagree with him, and then wrap it all up in one and make it a black woman, and his reaction is absolutely visceral. Now, I got to tell you, for as much as Donald Trump complains, he's got to know that behind closed doors, he's got no complaints with this media. I believe the media made him president twice. I believe the media has normalized much of what he's done. The media does not sound the alarm the way that they need to for fear of being sued, or for fear of being considered less than objective, for fear of being considered left wing, or whatever it is. I'm not sure what it is, but he's got no complaints at all because the media has made him president twice, and they're continuing to normalize, by and large, the things that are going on now. And so now he's attacking this woman, trying to get rid of her off the Federal Reserve because she's in the way. And knowing that black women, particularly smart ones, are much less likely to support him in any way, shape, or form. And those that are there because of their acumen and expertise, and in her case, and financials, they're not going to move off of what it is that they know to do just because he has this perception that he wants X, Y, Z done. And so therefore, get rid of him, do everything that we need to do. Let's create a problem. Now I'll fire them, etc. And it's just amazing to me that people are not understanding quite the way that they need to. That's why the alarm has to be sounded. We're in a very, very dangerous place, and we have been for a long time. And and again, to your point, we're only 8 months into this thing, and it's going to continue. And there has to be some pushback, some consistent pushback somewhere, so that we can call a spade, and that everything that can be done actually is. But it is certainly unfortunate that by and large, not at the level that they should be, people don't seem to be getting this quite the way they need to be.
See, Randy, so many people made assumptions. And I remember folk in our chat of, y'all spending too much time on this. Y'all making too big of a deal out of this. The problem that you have is you have a Republican-led Congress who is so scared of him, they don't want to say or do anything. So they are, in essence, giving up the power of Congress. And so you have Trump basically saying, I own these Supreme Court justices, which means that he's in control of the executive, the legislative, and the judicial. And that right there is scary. There were so many Simple Simon Negroes. Oh, it's not going to impact us. They can't do anything to us. Really? New York has the largest concentration of black people in America. Chicago is number 3 behind Atlanta. You don't think they're going to be targeting black people? And so folk really had better wake up to understand how these people are being thugs, how they are weaponizing the federal government, not just with that power, but how they are weaponizing it to control public companies, private companies, major companies, in so many different areas as well. This is far-reaching. We have never, ever seen this consolidation of power ever in this country.
Right. We are living through a direct attack on Black Americans, and they are going through it systemically. They planned this. This is Project 2025. He is doing what he said he was going to do. And one of the ways that he is crippling us is to ensure that anyone who gets in his way, particularly Black people, are cut at the knees. I mean, it started out with the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and he's gone through and said, okay, now he's at Cook, and how can we get rid of Cook? And let's be clear, if Trump has done nothing else, he knows the legal system. This is a 34-time felon. He was fighting lawsuits back in the day when he wouldn't rent homes to Black people in the 80s. He knows what court is about, and he knows what due process is, but he doesn't use it when it comes to people that he feel will get in his way. And he knows that these very well qualified Black women that he keeps attacking. So, because let's be clear, Cook was on the staff of University of Michigan. She was on the staff of Harvard. She has served under 3 other presidents prior to him, Obama, Clinton, and Bush. Of course she's well qualified, because Black people have to be overqualified to be in that position. So he knows that he has to get this brilliant woman, this well-qualified woman, out of his way so he can run what's supposed to be an independent bank to ensure that this is why. I mean, there have been clashes with presidents and people on the governor's board before, but it's never been when someone has tried to fire someone, and trying to fire someone because of an allegation. She has not been at all proven of doing any wrongdoing, but an allegation, where it's okay for he who has been proven guilty to be the president of the United States. That is the hypocrisy of all this. It's that is what is fearful and what should make us fearful. And furthermore, the fact that no one is going to stop him. I mean, he is a bully, and everyone seems to be scared of him. Everyone, that is, but Black women.
You know, Mustafa, this idiot sent out a social media post of the day complaining about negative stories against him by ABC and NBC, and then threatened to pull their FCC licenses. First of all, he's so stupid that ABC News, the network, and NBC News, the network, they don't actually have licenses. Only the local stations, the NBC owned and operated, ABC owned and operated stations have licenses. But this is what we do know. The FCC chairman, Brendan Carr, absolutely is a right-winger. Absolutely has been using the power of the FCC to drive a MAGA agenda. And so I wouldn't put that past Brendan Carr to do that.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it is all about power, right? So if you say on the face of it that you're going to pull those licenses for ABC, NBC, or whomever it might be, then it makes you look powerful and strong. If you say, you know, that you're trying to take away from local networks, then you're getting down to where people actually live and the stories that folks hear about what's going on in their communities. And, you know, people have a bigger issue with that than these big conglomerates. So I wouldn't be surprised either if these heads of these respective networks, you know, continue to erode our values, continue to fire people of color, do all these negative things to actually stop the right types of information, truthful information to be moved forward instead of the misinformation and disinformation that they continue to allow to just spin around. So I'm never surprised with many of these folks. I'm disappointed in them, but I understand the game and I understand that they're not interested in actually doing what's right.
All right, folks, hold tight 1 second. We come back. A former Trump supporter who now eviscerates MAGA talks about how these folks can't stand Black people. Hashtag we tried to tell you. Folks, you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered right here on the Black Star Network. Support the work that we do. Join our Bring the Fun fan club. Your dollars make it possible for us to cover the news every single day with our staff, with our producers, with our technical folks. Allows us to broadcast from around the country. So your support is critical to our success. Of course, we're going to be celebrating our 7th anniversary on September 4th. So lots more to come. If you want to support us via Cash App, use the Stripe QR code. You see it right here. This is the QR code. Please use that. For the link, go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Of course, you can also see checks and money orders. The P.O. Box 57196. First of all, make it out to Roland Martin Unfiltered. Make it out to Roland Martin Unfiltered. And again, send to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 2003 7-0196. PayPal R Martin Unfiltered, Venmo RM Unfiltered, Zelle Roland at RolandSMartin.com, Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Folks, we'll be right back.
Next on A Balanced Life here on Black Star Network, we're talking what it means to be a balanced young adult and turning 21. I know 21 is one of those ages where you think you're grown. You can do whatever you want. The law says that you can. But what are you packing in your 21-year-old toolkit that will allow you to not only survive, but to thrive?
You have every right to make whatever decision that you want to make, okay? Because you're grown. Don't go out here and do something and then want to come back and expect somebody else to clean it up for you.
That's all this week on A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie here on Black Star Network.
This week on The Other Side of Change,
300,000 Black women being pushed out of the workforce.
This is shocking yet unsurprising.
So what happens when a bunch of Black mothers lose their federal job? Their kids are not being fed, their kids are not being taken care of, but that trickles down to the entire community structure, which may be built on the backs of Black mothers and Black women more broadly.
Tune in on The Other Side of Change, only on the Black Star Network.
I am Tommy Davidson. I play Oscar
on Proud Family, Louder and Prouder.
Right now, I'm rolling with Roland Martin, unfiltered, uncut, unplugged, and undamn believable. You hear me?
Dean Withers, a young former Trump supporter who now, of course, he eviscerates the right. He hosts a podcast called One Woke Teen versus 100 Trump Supporters. Really shared in a recent episode an encounter where while he doesn't believe the GOP, including Donald Trump, can't stand black people.
All right, hey, I just want to be clear here. Republicans hate black people. MAGA hates black people, right? So if you're watching this and you're a black person, MAGA hates you. They hate you. They loathe you. They despise your existence. What's my evidence for this? We've been live for about an hour now. We haven't had one Trump supporter come up here and tell us why they support Trump. No, we haven't. We haven't. We've had maybe 20 people come up here and scream the N-word, though. Republicans are more willing to slur. Republicans are more willing to hate crime. Republicans are more willing to despise you for your existence if you're a black person watching this than they are willing to give one intellectual reason why Donald Trump is a good president. So for everybody watching, I mean, I'm talking about the 2.2 thousand people on YouTube and the 7.3 thousand people on TikTok. This shit should be radicalizing you. I'm being so fucking real. This shit should radicalize you. How scary is that? The millions of Americans that support the president we have today don't support them because of reason, don't support him because of fact, don't support him because of logic. They don't support him because of anything in alignment with reality. They support him out of hate and disdain for you if you are a black person, right? And once again, the fact that we have had 20 people come up here and vocalize their explicit hatred for black people, instead of giving one argument for why they support Trump, one reason, talking about the economy, talking about his policy, immigration, foreign affairs. No, it's just the N-word. So if you're a black person, if you're a brown person, if you're BIPOC, MAGA hates you.
No lies told, Randy.
I mean, water is wet. Water is wet. I mean, of course, there are a few step fetchits who think differently, but I think the majority of black people are very clear that we are hated. That is what MAGA is about. They are not about so much what they're going to do for others, but what they're going to do against others to oppress others. I mean, the name of their game is the oppression of anybody that is non-white. They definitely hate black people, but, I try to make people understand that I've never met a bigot who was targeted. And by that, I mean, if someone hates black people, we may get it the worst and first, but they are xenophobic. They're not messing with Jews. They're not messing with LGBTQIA. They're not messing with Hispanics. So, we're in this together, whether they realize it or not. I think a lot of people are having wake-up calls right now as we speak. And that's part of the reason that, the election went the way it did, is because some people were fine as long as black people were going to be hurt. They knew black people would be hurt. They didn't realize that they, too, would be targeted as well. But, yeah, I mean, it's people will listen to, if I don't know anything else, I know people will listen to a white person and trust a white person telling them about their own people before like me or you say it. So it's great that this young man is just calling a thing, but I don't think any of us are sitting over here in shock and awe about what he's saying. It was not a revolutionary statement here. We know.
But here's the deal. But his audience is not our audience, and he needed to say what needed to be said. Because Joe,
That's what I'm saying.
what we have to
And
recognize,
they will believe
uh,
him.
yeah, I mean, so it was critically important, I think, for him to say what he had to say, because what we have to recognize, and again, this was literally the basis of my book, White Fear, while the browning of America is making white folks lose their minds, and I called it, and I hate the fact that I called it, that I saw it, it was coming true, but we have to recognize that, I mean, look, I saw a piece earlier with one of the Proud Boys. They were like, oh, we don't have to protest anymore because we're not on the inside. We're now mainstream. Our viewpoints, oh, we're good. That's literally what the racists are saying, Joe. We're good. They are embracing us.
Yeah, and so from where they stand, things are being well taken care of. What I like to say is, are there Republicans out there that that'll say that they don't hate black people and kind of mean it? Yeah, sure, there are. But here's what I say in response to that. You can say that I'm cool. You can say that you're a Reagan Republican, which isn't a whole lot better to me, or a Bush. Let's say a Bush 1 Republican. I'm a HW Republican. But the HW Republicans aren't the ones in charge. I mean, how long ago does it seem that George H.W. Bush actually supported, it's a little watered down, but the 1991 Civil Rights Bill? How long ago does it seem that George W. Bush supported some initiatives in Africa? How long ago does it seem that some folks that were on that side of the aisle acknowledged that some other folks had a right to exist, even if there were some very honest disagreements? So at the end of the day, what I tell people is that, well, if you don't hate me, if you don't, if you're a quote good Republican or whatever, well, the good Republicans aren't the ones that are running things now. They aren't the ones that are in the White House making decisions. Good Republicans are getting run out of town. Okay? And so at the end of the day, Joe, Jack, Joe, I got to disagree with that because here's why. Yes, there are never Trumpers. They exist. But there are people like James Baker, who was called a statesman, who was President Bush's chief of staff, who was Secretary of State. And the New Yorker did a story on him, and he made perfectly clear. Do I like some of the things that he says and does? No. I am a Republican. I'm going to vote for the Republican. So the reason Donald Trump is there is frankly because those folks have not been aggressive. Listen, for all of the talk of Trump's former chief of staff, retired 4-star general, and the comments that he confirmed to book authors, John Kelly did not come out publicly before the election and say to the country, do not vote for this man. Right.
See, and that's the real deal, because I keep saying this. Republicans like James Baker, Republicans like Eric Erickson, Republicans like Bill Barr, they personally hate Donald Trump. They personally despise Donald Trump. But Donald Trump is their Trojan horse because he is their access to total power.
And making a circle, if your guy hates me, you can say you don't hate me, but if your guy hates me and you support your guy, A equals B and B equals C, then A equals C. So we get to the same place. So whether or not this gentleman is right saying, MAGA hates you and Republicans hate you and, the Republicans hate black people, whatever else, that's still how it shows up. The book says, love not in word, neither in tongue, but in deed and in truth. So if your guy is screwing me because your guy hates me, and we're sure about that, and you look the other way for whatever reason while your guy does what he does, then you're right there with your guy. And that's what it arrives at, for sure. It might arrive for a different reason or a different way. But at the end of the day, if he's your guy and you support your guy and he hates me, then you might as well hate me because it has the same effect.
You know, Mustafa, there were some racists who were fired in the first term of Trump. They're now back, and they got promotions. And so, all gloves are off. These people, they don't care. They are full on embracing of racism. And we all know Stephen Miller is an absolute white nationalist. And so if you are a racist in America, you have a home in MAGA world. In fact, you got some white folks in Arkansas who literally are building their whites-only community. They made it clear they don't want any blacks there. I can guarantee you we don't want to live near your asses.
Malcolm X once said that power never takes a back step, only in the face of more power. And that's what we see going on right now, is that people are comfortable with doing the things that they always wanted to do and saying the things that they always wanted to say because they have an administration that backs it up and that amplifies it. And not only do they bring it forward in words, but actually in deeds, because you can say lots of things. I always evaluate your actions to know exactly how you care about me. So when you dismantle diversity, equity, and inclusion, even though you understand that there are disproportionate impacts that are happening in housing and transportation and jobs and the environment and healthcare, then that shows that you have little regard for me. You might actually hate me because you understand the impacts that are happening there. When you make it more difficult for education to actually happen and to make sure that there's real equality in that space, then that means to me that you hate me. When you look at the undermining of civil rights and of our museums as an example of where you want to do erasure in those spaces, then that sends a very clear message about how you see me. When you have individuals who are talking about cash bail, and when they send the National Guard and other law enforcement into black cities, DC is one of those examples, and that shows exactly how you feel, not only words, but in sets of actions. When you slash funding for all those federal agencies that have a responsibility around, whether it is the climate crisis and these hurricanes and everything else that happens, or environmental justice, and you say that it no longer matters and those impacts that are happening, then they're very clear about, one, that they have power in this moment and that they're going to utilize it to put you in greater harm. And then, of course, all the economic impacts of stripping away rights that folks work for decades upon decades to just begin to address the wealth gap in our country. They are very clear about how they feel about you. And then if you just want to look at whom a person surrounds themselves with, all you got to do is look at the White House. All you got to do is look at these federal agencies. And it's very clear about what the mandate is and the paradigm that they're operating from. But some folks still want to keep their eyes closed. Some folks still, even though you see exactly what's playing out, you want to find and justify, well, that's not really what they're doing. That's not really how they feel. And it's just amazing because, as Maya said, when someone shows you who they are, believe them. You still have folks who don't believe.
Folks, hold tight 1 second. Going to a break. We come back. We will talk with Chicago pastor, Father Michael Pfleger. He spoke yesterday at the Governor Jay Pritzker news conference regarding Trump wanting to send the National Guard to Chicago. Had some tough words to say, and I'm sure he will continue to say it right here on the show as well. Folks, we'll be right back on the Black Star Network.
Next on the Black Table with me, Greg Carr, we welcome the Black Star Network's very own Roland Martin, who joins us to talk about his new book, White Fear, how the browning of America is making white folks lose their minds. The book explains so much about what we're going through in this country right now, and how, as white people head toward becoming a racial minority, it's going to get, well, let's just say, even more interesting.
We are going to see more violence. We're going to see more vitriol, because as each day passes, it's it is a nail in that coffin.
The one and only Roland Martin on the next Black Table, right here on the Black Star Network.
On the next Get Wealthy with me, Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, we talk about the principles of mindset, strategy, and execution. This week, we're adding a fourth, faith. You're going to hear from a mother and daughter duo who are helping thousands of Black women build wealth, all through their faith.
You are more than you can ever imagine. Not just obtaining things to show that, but seeing yourself.
Making your faith work for you. That's right here on Get Wealthy, only on Black Star Network.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kim Coles.
Hey, I'm Donnie Simpson.
Yo, it's your man Deion Cole from Blackish, and you watch
Roland Martin, Unfiltered.
Folks, a lot of conversation with regards to Trump sending the National Guard to Chicago, New York, and other cities in this country. Oh, he's not focused on red states. He cares only about the issue of, quote, the so-called issue of crime in blue states. Well, yesterday at Illinois Governor Jay Pritzker's news conference, Father Michael Pfleger spoke, and this is what he had to say.
Chicago's not in a state of emergency. We all reject any deployment of National Guard on Chicago streets. We do not need nor want a militarization of Chicago or Illinois, which is only going to induce fear, chaos, and disturb the progress we are presently making to decrease violence. The state of emergency is in America, not Chicago, and is birthed from this president and his administration. Dr. King said he could not raise his voice against the violence of the oppressed without having first spoken clearly to the greater purveyor of violence, his own country. And those are my words to you, Mr. Trump. Before you dare speak about any violence in Chicago, look into your mirror and address the violence coming from the White House. The violence of cutting SNAP, which will cut $2.4 million in food access. Put 360,000 Illinoisans at risk by taking food off their tables. Address the violence of cutting Medicare and Medicaid by $500 million, reducing access to doctors, and threatening the closure of hospitals and nursing home facilities throughout the state of Illinois, literally putting Americans in life and death situations. Some Americans will die because of your Medicaid cuts. Address the violence of cutting $158 million for violence prevention in Illinois. And yes, as others have stated, the $800 million anti-violence grants nationwide. And address the violence of refusing to ban assault weapons and high-capacity magazines, refusing to have universal background checks as well as red flag laws, and making America the gun capital of the world due to its gun ownership and sales. And while you're at it, Mr. Trump, stop the gun flow into our state from your Republican state of Indiana. Yes, Mr. Trump, rather than exploit our men and women in uniform for your own political theater, look into the mirror and address the acts of violence that you have ordered from your golden Oval Office, creating violence and chaos throughout this country. Take the wasted money in sending the National Guard and the wasted money used on threatening commercials by your Homeland Security Secretary and use it on real violence and prevention programs that will bring peace. The only one who we have to be concerned about is violence is you, Mr. President. Send the National Guard to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
Father Pfleger joins us right now on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Glad to see you again, sir.
Good to see you, my brother. How you doing?
Doing great. Here's what's very interesting. I remember 11 years ago, the crime under Rahm Emanuel was outrageous. And I actually wrote a column invoking the use of the National Guard. I made a point about, I said, you use everything at your disposal. And I remember the people who were really upset. And I said, listen, I said, if it's state police, I said, you use everything. I said, because I said, whether you're doing traffic stops, whether you're doing, any sort of different things to deal with it. And someone asked me, and they said, well, what's different? I said, I was specifically speaking to the mayor and the governor. This is a situation where you have someone in the Oval Office who wants to do this, when we know the process to use National Guard is typically a governor makes that decision or makes the request to the White House. No, Trump believes that he can do whatever he wants. And in fact, at today's press conference, he literally said he can do whatever he wants. Folks, roll that clip, and then we'll go to Father Pfleger.
But then he goes on television and says, oh, Trump is a dictator, he's a dictator. And a lot of people are so the line is that I'm a dictator, but I stop crime. So a lot of people say, if that's the case, I'd rather have a dictator. But I'm not a dictator. I just know how to stop crime.
All right, folks, play the other clip. That's the one about being a dictator. The other clip, though, speaks to when he says he can do whatever he wants.
So I would have much more respect for Pritzker if he'd call me up and say, I have a problem. Can you help me fix it? I would be so happy to do it. I don't love, not that I don't have the right to do anything I want to do. I'm the president of the United States. If I think our country's in danger, and it is in danger in these cities, I can do it. No problem going in and solving, his difficulties. But it would be nice if they'd call and they'd say, would you do it?
Okay, you can't do whatever you want, Father Pfleger. You can't. But he thinks he can.
And the sad thing at Rowan is, in many circumstances, he is doing whatever the hell he wants. I mean, everybody says he can't do this, he won't do this, but he's doing things. He has broken the Constitution, he's broken the laws, and he thinks he is a dictator. He can joke about it if he wants to, but he's acting like one. And the fact of the matter is, with no check from Congress, no check from Senate, he's got the Supreme Court in his back pocket. And like today, the Board of Governors filed that sister, where they say he can't do that. But he's constantly just doing things. And unfortunately, those around him are letting him do it. And that's why we've got to be very clear here. No, you're not sending National Guard. You're not going to put young folks from around the other states to come in here and have a militarization of the streets of Chicago. Yesterday, Roland, I saw an email that was sent to the students at Howard University that you probably saw, telling them because now the National Guard and because ICE agents are all in and out of campus, that students be careful, don't walk out without your identification. If you're driving a car, make sure everything's set on, have your insurance ready. This kind of madness of this fascist is unbelievable. But the tragically is he can't do these things, but he's doing them, and nobody is stopping him.
Right. And again, this whole deal, I wish he would call. But you're the same person who cut $800 million in grants to deal with crime prevention. And I was watching, Joe Scarborough was questioning Mayor Brandon Johnson this morning, and he was like, well, Mayor, I agree with you on the social services, but wouldn't 5,000 new police help? Well, first of all, let's be real clear. And what's happening today in Chicago, even I was just literally just reading the piece that I wrote 11 years ago. What's happening in Chicago today, that's not what was happening 11 years ago.
Right.
And see, that's the thing. These Republicans, they throw out. I remember when I kicked Philip from Indiana's butt, and I was like, dude, you never even been to Chicago. They use Chicago as the punching bag whenever they need to try to make their point about, oh, my God, how bad crime is.
Exactly, and it's a good point. And I'm certainly not going to sit here and say we have Wakanda, but the truth of the matter is, violent crime is down, and homicides are down, and shootings are down. We've done some things together that have worked. We got a good police chief now. We in the 6th district here, we have worked so hard building a relationship between police and citizens and young people, and conversations out. We see what's working. We see what's working in intervention in the street. So the craziness is we see things that are working and seeing crime coming down, and he cuts off the money that helps those things continue, and then wants to send in National Guard to the very thing we're saying is never going to work, militarization. So you spend thousands and millions of dollars and send National Guard in to Band-Aid for 2 months and have them in every corner, making people live in fear and chaos. And also, I think some young people are not going to react to that and say, no, not here, not on my block, and there's going to be some confrontation, which is what I think he wants. I think he wants to provoke violence in Chicago, because what he really has...
Oh, he does? Oh.
That's what he wants.
Yes. Yeah, I recorded a podcast today here in Atlanta with Pastor Jamal Bryant, and it's literally what I said. I said, Donald Trump, he desperately wants people to react. And what I said to Pastor Bryant is that what has to happen, there has to be a non-violent reaction to it. Because Trump is itching for what they call unrest. In fact, if anybody looks at those orders of the Department of Defense, that's what he was focused on, the issue of civil unrest. He wants to cancel the election citing civil unrest. And so if people are going to respond, it has to be a non-violent reaction. And I said this to Pastor Bryant, and here's the deal. The group that has been doing some amazing work, whether it's these ICE detentions and also what he's doing, have been Catholic priests. Pope Leo has inspired Catholic priests to be more aggressive and bringing their moral authority to challenge this thuggish administration.
You're right, Ron. And two things we're saying is, one is we are going to have a column coming out in the Tribune this coming Sunday, where it's saying this is the time for faith leaders in general, Muslims, Christians, and Jews to unite. We can have our differences in our faith, but the foundations of all of this is justice, it's respect of people, it's the love of our sisters and brothers, and the treatment of each other with justice. That we're saying it's time to come together and make a strong front. And like next week, we're having 2 different days of trainings of a group of ministers we put together for nonviolent resistance. This is a time to go back and bring out all that Dr. King taught us about civil disobedience, about nonviolence resistance, and about standing up. Because if we can't play into his hand, exactly what you said, this is what he wants. He wants some National Guard to get shot, or some fight to break out with the National Guard and folks in the community, so they can send in National Guard. And then the little control we have left from the people, he will now be able to control our neighborhoods.
Mayor Johnson put out this fact sheet. This fact sheet went out August 25th. It says Mayor Johnson's primary focus over his first 2 years in office has been driving down violent crime in Chicago. Since taking office, Chicago has recorded historic reductions in crime and violence as the Johnson administration has implemented a holistic approach to community safety. In the first 6 months of this year, Chicago has seen a 33% reduction in homicides and a 38% reduction in shootings. To improve police clearance rates, Mayor Johnson added detectives and restructured the Detectives Bureau at the Chicago Police Department to more efficiently allocate resources. The work has resulted in a citywide homicide clearance rate of 77.4%, the highest in more than a decade. To address the root causes of violence, Mayor Johnson has doubled the number of mental health professionals responding to mental health crisis calls, expanding youth summer employment by 47% and enhanced partnerships between police officers and community violence intervention groups. Most recent year-to-date statistics. Overall violent crime down 21.6%. Homicide 32.3%. Overall shooting incidents 37.4%. Multi-victim shooting incidents 44.6%. Robbery 31.9%. Vehicular hijacking 49%. Aggravated assault 18.1%. We're seeing the same thing in Baltimore. And what Trump is not doing, and Governor Westmore said, hey, you want to see what's happening? Why don't you bring your butt over and see it? That's the issue that even national media is not focused on. See, they're listening to Trump and running the sound bites. What they're not saying is, okay, how did y'all actually do it? Because that's the blueprint. The blueprint of Joe Scarborough, the blueprint is not, hey, more cops. No, the blueprint is, how did you achieve these reductions in violence, and how can we now redouble those efforts so we can have overall shooting incidents not down 37.4%, but down 75-80%.
That's what makes sense, though, Roland. That's what the smart thing would be, to say, hey, what's working in these different cities, that crime is coming down, violence is coming down, relationships are being built between police and community, the street intervention is working. How do we support this and take it all the way down? And how do we use this, as you said, a blueprint for other cities, and particularly all these red cities where violence is way higher than Chicago right now? But the truth of the matter is, he doesn't give a damn about the violence. He doesn't give a damn about what's going on in the streets. It's just his political theater to go into Democratic states and states where there's states where there's large African American communities that did not vote for him, that did not support him, and bring in suppression, bring in fear, bring in chaos, and then create this theater argument. Well, I'm here to help. You're not here to help because you don't want to know what's working. All you want to do is come in and be the dictator in places where he's not been able to control yet. And yes, the end game, create the kind of chaos that will bring about violence. He doesn't want to bring the violence down. He wants to push the button of violence and bring it up and have people in the streets.
Questions from a panel. Randy, you're first.
So when you talk about resistance, when talking about we have to get all our leaders together, I mean, what does that look like for you? Because we to you, like, what do we need to, like, real action items that we could take right now? Because I think we're talking in large, in like these big ideas, but I think people really are wanting a plan of action. Like, where do we start?
Well, I think what we're trying to do right now is like next week, we're asking ministers and young people to come together and go through a training, first of all. We've got to be prepared so when they come in with an aggressive force, we don't respond, we don't react to that. I think one of the problems we've had in the past is we have spent too much time responding to what Trump is doing. Shame on us. We're responding to Project 2025. We should have had our own Project 2025 to put out to make him respond to us. So in this circumstance now, before they come in, what we want to do is train people, train ministers, join together, come up. We have 2 conference calls tomorrow. Come up with what ideas, what is going to be our response? What is the best kind of response that we can do collectively and together? And then make sure we're doing training of our young people to be peer leaders on the streets of nonviolent resistance. So I think it's the training. I think it's the coming together. And now planning what kind of resistance, what kind of civil disobedience, what kind of drawing the line and saying no will we decide is going to be best to show our point.
That's fantastic.
Joe.
So empowering people to resist. Thank you.
Thank you. Reverend Pfleger, appreciate seeing you. Hate that I didn't get to meet you all those years ago when I was in Northwestern Law. Maybe we'll check the box sometime. But you've been through a lot of hills and valleys doing what you've been doing. So tell me how you encourage your parish now. Because of the hills and valleys you've seen days in Chicago where, of course, crime was a problem, but police relations was a problem as well. That seems to have improved on some level. How do you encourage them, showing them, reminding them what's good, reminding them to be uplifted and inspired with what seems to be trying to bear down on them, despite the fact that it seems like with what's going on internally, there's a lot of good news. So how do you encourage your parish in a way? Hopefully we're looking over your shoulder right now so we can draw from that as well.
Well, I think a number of things. I think, first of all, we have to be we have to make sure we make clear, no, this is not the time to get overwhelmed. This is not a time to, be depressed, to be down about what's happening. People say, I just can't take it anymore. I don't want to watch the news. I don't want to listen to it. No, this is not the time to retreat. This is the time to say, what is this faith that we've been growing in? What is this faith that we've been proclaiming and singing about and preaching about and teaching about? This is the time in darkness when we recognize, as I told you on Sunday, it's when you turn on the light. Well, who's the light? We are. We're the light of the world, not to be hidden. So this is the time for us to shine. This is the time for us to come together and know who we are. We are the more than overcomers. We are the he in us who's greater than the he in the world. This is the time to put legs on our feet and make sure that we are living it every day in our workplaces, on the street corners, in our schools. This is the time for our faith to shine bright. This is the time to recognize what we say we believe. Now it's the rubber hits the road. Do we believe that God's power is greater than man's power? Do we believe that our faith is greater? Do we believe we're more than our overcomers? If so, let's act like it. Let's walk like it. Let's talk like it. And don't miss the opportunity. And that's what I keep telling the multi-faith leaders. This is a time to come together from Christian, Muslim, Jew, Baha'i, Sikh, whatever you may be, and say, out of all our holy books, the Quran, the Torah, the Bible, we have a foundation of beliefs that we all join one in. Let's come together where we join one in. Let's stand up together, and let's set a model for the country. This is an opportunity for us. Don't not just look at what this idiot is doing. This is an opportunity for us to shine brightly and to take back the narrative. As the Christian church, we have been too quiet for too long and allowed the crazy right-wing evangelicals to become the new spokesperson of Christianity. That ain't Christianity. That's not Jesus. That is created Christianity. Now it's time for the real Christianity to stand up, be tall, be strong, be bold, and be unashamed about it.
Amen. Thank you, sir.
Mustafa.
Reverend Pfleger, you make me want to go back to service right now instead of waiting till Sunday. I want to thank you for your leadership. Hazel Johnson was one of my early mentors over in Oakdale Gardens. So that's where I learned my social justice work. She would often help to point out the beauty of Chicago. Now, folks will often demonize our communities and paint them in the vision that they have. You've spent a lot of time in Chicago. Can you let people see through your eyes the beauty that actually exists in Chicago and why we need to stand up and fight for it?
Well, I think one of the beauties is that Chicago really is, I know logistically we're in the heart of America, but I think Chicago really does have the heart. It's real. It's a big city with a little city feeling. We have this beauty of different neighborhoods, of rich cultures, from the Chinatown to the Puerto Rican community, to the Mexican community, to the out west here is the Muslim community and the Little Palestine, and we have all these great, wonderful communities that oftentimes allowed to be separated from one another. But I think that the trial and trouble and persecution is the time to take advantage of what we do have, what we do know, and to rise up. I think we can be a real model to the country because the realness of what Chicago is. Chicago is just what you see is what you get. And there's a beauty of not only the cultures here, the beauty of, they talk about the lakefront and they talk about the restaurants. But to me, the real beauty of Chicago is the communities, the neighborhoods. It's Miss Jones on her porch. It's Uncle John sitting at the corner or at the barbershop on Saturday mornings listening to Push with 15 guys in the barbershop. It's still there. It still exists. It's the time to shine and show who we really are. Come together, be strong. And I think the best days of Chicago can be ahead of us if we use this crazy fascist movement to make it the opportunity for us to really come together and make the best of Chicago.
I'll say this here, and I think this needs to happen in D.C. You talk about the faith community. You want to sit here and challenge these folks. Imagine if 1,000 Christians are lined up shoulder to shoulder where these National Guard members are, standing there holding their Bibles and chanting affirmations or singing freedom songs like Snick did as well. And looking them in their eye. See, to me, that's sort of the movement that's to happen. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, you think you are a super Christian? Yeah, let's see 1,000 black Christians look you in your eye, calling you out. See, and so when I think about Dr. King, who was being taught the nonviolence issue by Bayard Rustin, and of course, my man Reverend Nelson, and when you think about all of these people, when you think about the folks who are putting the work in, that to me is important. When you think about, Jim Lawson. When you think about Jim Lawson, who went to prison. He could have got a deferment because he was in seminary. He chose to go to prison because he said he did not believe in war to that extent and was not going to take that. That has to return, because people cannot miss what you said earlier, and I said the exact same thing. They are itching for a fight. They want people to lash out, and we fight
of power and of faith and of conviction, like you said, of standing there and saying, here we are. Tell us what you're going to do. Go to those corners where if he comes here and tries to put National Guard, and fill those corners with people. Every single corner, wherever there's National Guard, have people surrounding them and fill them and stand there with our Bibles, with our Quran, with our Torah. Stand there and let them know. You think, the problem is he thinks he's got the power. And we keep surrendering like he has, but he don't have no damn power. We have the power and our faith. And this is the time to put feet on our faith and get up out of our churches. And then if they come, every sermon in every church, synagogue, and mosque ought to be that weekend, the church has left the building.
And that's when, as Dr. King said, you become the protagonist and you make him and them the antagonist.
That's right. There you go. There you go. That's what's got to happen.
Father Pfleger, always a pleasure to chat with you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely. Keep us abreast of what happens, and we're right there with you.
Appreciate you. Much love, Rowan. Thank you all.
All right, much love. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Folks, going to a break. I'll be right back. Right here, Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. First of all, YouTube folks, y'all should be hitting that like button. We should easily be sitting at 2,000 likes. While y'all messing around, y'all commenting left and right, but y'all ain't hitting that like button. Yeah, I see. We sitting right here, almost 4,000 people commenting, and I'm looking at 1,100 likes. So when I get back, I should have at least 2,000 likes right here. Okay, so y'all get going. If y'all want to support the work that we do, don't be sitting there trying to ride for free. Your support is critically important. We're asking $50 each, $4.19 a month, 13 cents a day. If you can't do that, you can do less. Hey, we understand. We appreciate that. If you can do more, we appreciate that. But again, your support matters. So support us. Now, Bring the Funk Fan Club. Go to use the Stripe QR code to give it via Cash App. You see the QR code right here. Go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com for the link. Checks and money order. Make them payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered. P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. PayPal is RMartin Unfiltered. Venmo RM Unfiltered. Zelle Roland at RolandSMartin.com. Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Of course, download the Black Star Network app. Apple phone, Android phone, Apple TV, Android TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Xbox One, on Samsung Smart TV. Be sure to get our Roland Martin Unfiltered swag. Go to shopblackstarnetwork.com. Shopblackstarnetwork.com for our t-shirts, wall art, mugs, all kinds of stuff. You name it, we got it right there. Our QR code is there as well. And when you support us with those products, that money comes back right into the show. And of course, we also want you to get my book, White Fear, How the Browning of America is Making White Folks Lose Their Minds. All the stuff you're seeing right now today, y'all, I call that. That book was published September 2022, and nothing has changed. All right, folks, and be sure to get the audio version I read on Audible. All right, I'll be right back right here on the Black Star Network.
Next on A Balanced Life, here on Black Star Network, we're talking what it means to be a balanced young adult and turning 21. I know 21 is one of those ages where you think you're grown. You can do whatever you want. The law says that you can. But what are you packing in your 21-year-old toolkit that will allow you to not only survive, but to thrive?
You have every right to make whatever decision that you want to make, okay? Because you're grown. Don't go out here and do something and then want to come back and expect somebody else to clean it up for you.
That's all this week on A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie here on Black Star Network.
This week on the other side of change.
300,000 Black women being pushed out of the workforce.
This is shocking yet unsurprising.
So what happens when a bunch of Black mothers lose their federal job? Their kids are not being fed. Their kids are not being taken care of. But that trickles down to the entire community structure, which may be built on the backs of Black mothers and Black women more broadly.
Tune in on The Other Side of Change, only on the Black Star Network.
Hello, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase. Listen to what I'm about to tell you. The window to invest in Fanbase is closing. We've raised over $10.6 million of our $17 million goal. That means there's room for less than 6,370 people to invest in Fanbase for the average amount. The minimum to invest in Fanbase right now is $399. That makes you an owner in Fanbase today. Go to startengine.com/fanbase to invest. Why? Because current social apps have taken advantage of users for far too long, with content suppression, shadow banning, harmful racist content, and no real tools for monetization and equity. Fanbase has over 1.4 million users and counting, allowing anyone to reach all their following and monetize their content from day one. Social media is the new TV, and whoever owns the apps that distribute that content have the opportunity to own potential billion-dollar companies. While big platforms with uncertain futures are failing to serve their users, Fanbase is stepping up to fill the gap. Don't wait until it's too late. Invest now, invest for yourself and your future. Go to startengine.com/fanbase and own the next generation of social media.
Next on the Black Table with me, Greg Carr, we welcome the Black Star Network's very own Roland Martin, who joins us to talk about his new book, White Fear, How the Browning of America is Making White Folks Lose Their Minds. The book explains so much about what we're going through in this country right now, and how, as white people head toward becoming a racial minority, it's going to get, well, let's just say, even more interesting.
We are going to see more violence. We're going to see more vitriol, because as each day passes, it is a nail in that coffin.
The one and only Roland Martin on the next Black Table, right here on the Black Star Network.
Me, Sherry Shepard, and you know what you're watching, Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Well, I've told y'all numerous times how much of a liar Donald Trump is, and of course, we're seeing that where he just lied about, how Governor Westmore was praising him and saying how he's the greatest president ever. And then these idiots at Fox News thought they had the video saying, we got it. It proves what Trump said is correct. No, it doesn't. Roll it.
This, a bit of he said, she said brewing between President Trump and Maryland Democrat Governor Westmore.
I met him at the Army-Navy game. They said, there's Governor Moore. He'd love to see you. He came over to me, he hugged me, shook my hand. You were there. He said, sir, you're the greatest president of my lifetime. I said, but it's really nice that you say that. I'd love you to say it publicly, but I don't think you can do that, so it's okay. And then every time I see him on television, he's knocking the hell out of me, so, but that's all right. That's called politics.
Knocking the hell out of him. Wes Moore is posting on social media saying that President Trump can't walk, but maybe he should walk the streets of Baltimore. It didn't take him long to respond to the president there in the Oval Office. He said, LOL, keep telling yourself that, Mr. President. It'd be wild, though, if only we had the footage that President Trump had referenced about them meeting at the Army-Navy game. And thanks to the Art of the Surge on Fox Nation, we have the footage.
Mr. President, welcome back to Maryland, sir. Welcome back to Maryland. It's good to see you.
In person, too.
Thank you, sir. Great to see you. Great to see you. And great to have you back here. Great to have you. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Well, we are very, very anxious to be able to work closely with you. And I know the Key Bridge is something that we're specifically focused on. It's going well. I mean, we spoke with Speaker Johnson yesterday, and Speaker Johnson says he believes that we're close to the 100% cost share. And the thing is, I told him when we get that 100% cost share done, we are going to be able to open the Key Bridge under your watch, because I will have it done in 28, on time and on budget.
We'll help you out.
Thank you, sir.
We didn't hear their greatest president ever, but we did hear a lot of enthusiasm and so excited to meet you, Mr. President. Who's telling the truth? We'll let you decide.
Now, I done told y'all Will Cain is stupid. That was literally the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life. Who's telling the truth? We'll let you decide. Idiot! What Donald Trump said happened is an absolute lie. Will Cain, you kiss more Trump ass than Melania. I told y'all that boy ain't smart. We'll let you decide? Well, we didn't hear the greatest president ever, but we heard lots of, great to see you. He's the governor of the state, dumbass. That's what governors do. No different than when Gavin Newsom went to the tarmac when Trump came there after the fires. Like, what the hell is wrong with these? Fox News literally is stupid people television. It's stupid people television. The hosts on that network, they are liars. They will cover. Donald Trump could kill 1,000 people, and they will cover for him, say, oh, no, they all had it coming. Will Cain, you know better. But you got to kiss so much Trump ass to kiss your check. Just like Sean Hannity and Laura Ingraham and all the rest of the people on that network. That's why you idiots had to pay $787 million to Dominion, because you lied about the election in 2020. And then you got another lawsuit against you, and I hope they get billions out of you, because y'all are liars. I mean, my goodness, Joe, how stupid can you be to say, well, we'll let you decide who's telling the truth, when you just showed Trump lying, and the video you showed does not contradict Governor Wes Moore said he's lying, but ignorant, dumb Will Cain goes, we'll let you decide.
It really doesn't have to be deep. Trump says that Governor Wes Moore said X. You run the tape like you're really doing something, and Wes Moore doesn't say what President says he says. That's the end of the story. Mr. President, he said you said this. You said he said this, and he didn't. Here's the tape. Why would you say that? As opposed to, well, okay, he didn't say that. Moving target. Moving target. Lower the standards. Well, he didn't say that, but boy, he sure was complimentary. Well, some of us don't, start battles unless they happen. Don't start none, won't be none. A president is supposed to be, governors and presidents are supposed to be cordial. Mayors and governors are supposed to be cordial to the extent that they can be. You can have political differences, but still greet each other at a football game. So, yeah, to your point, it's crazy how he can totally lie, not tell the truth at all. And it's okay. It's okay with, quote, journalists, people that are supposed to check folk for truth, people that are supposed to put a mic in front of somebody and said, you said this happened and it actually didn't, and we've got the tape and we've got the receipts. What does this say about you? What does this say about your character? Why should people disagree or agree with you or believe you when you say X, Y, or Z? So it shows you where we are now. It shows you, what's happened with the media and how far it's moved. It shows you the whole Fox thing. It doesn't matter what the president actually says and whether he tells the truth or not. They're going to still gloss over it, cover it up, etc. And so if they do that, when you can show something to be demonstrably false by your own tape and you still run the tape and interpret it a different way, what do you do with that?
Randy, here's what Will Kane should have said. We're sycophants. We kiss his ass, so you decide.
That's what he should have said. But, he's going to get away with what he did. Because the one thing about him leaning towards Trump and kissing his ass more than Melania, as you said, which is hilarious, is that so do the people who watch Fox. So they will look at that tape and say, they literally will say, oh, no, he said it. Trump was not lying because I saw the tape. And even though the tape didn't say that, they will make that conclusion because that's what they want to believe about their felon in charge. So, yeah, he gets away with lying so much because he has a bunch of dumb people following him. And then we have seen the complete crumbling of journalism, which is such a vital part of, maintaining a democracy so people can make real decisions. But, because we now have this yellow journalism and they really are just going to say whatever they have to say to uphold their leader, there is nothing that's non-biased. So, it is sad. The whole Fox engine is scary, but effective.
Mustafa, Will Kane's, hey, we have the tape. Oh, my God, this is awesome. Well, it doesn't really show him saying that, you're the greatest president of my lifetime. But, ooh, boy, they were cordial. There were such greetings. Well, that's part of the problem for Fox News. They're so used to this MAGA idiot being so disrespectful and nasty that they forgot what it's like when you have a president or an occupant of the Oval Office who knows how to be cordial to a mayor or a governor and who doesn't chastise them and call them names in their face like the uncouth individual who Will Kane loves to kiss the ass of.
Yeah, you've got some hosts out there who evidently just don't do the work, right? You got hosts who just take a script and just move forward and have no real, connection to the information that they're actually, sharing. So it really looks like that. It's like you don't know what's coming up. You don't know what's inside the clip. And then you try and smooth it over. So, maybe Fox just needs to actually make sure that the individuals that they hire actually have the chops to do the job. But, that's for them to decide. I don't watch Fox News.
No. Fox execs like lying. They allow lying. They encourage lying. They tolerate lying. Their whole network is built on lies.
Well, I get that. I know it's all about misinformation. We talk about it on the show, and that's how they thrive because they understand that most people are not going to do any research on it. They're not going to think critically about what is being shared. So that is just what it is. For other folks, I hope that they're actually going to do a deeper analysis when somebody says something, actually check it out for yourself and make sure that there's real truth in what's being shared. And that's for all media. I was just going to say that I've been out with presidents before, so it is about a level of decorum. It is about, making sure that you're showing a level of respect. I've seen governors of different parties meeting with presidents, and that's what they do because that's what you're supposed to do. So for them to try and twist it and do all these other types of things, once again, it's just a part of the disinformation and misinformation that they think is what folks are going to tolerate. And unfortunately, we do see that sometimes. And that's why, whether it's this network or other trusted sources, you need to be tuning in there, because if not, you'll just get caught up in this whirlpool of lies and information that is not helpful to the real issues that we should be talking about.
Folks, these people will lie about lies. That's who they are. They are scared to call balls and strikes. And I can guarantee you, if President Joe Biden had said what Trump said, and they had the video contradicting that, they would have been like, Sleepy Joe lies. But they will never call out the lies of Donald Trump. That's why I wouldn't watch that trash network. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. When we come back, our shop, BlackStarNetwork.com marketplace. Back in a moment.
On the next Get Wealthy with me, Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, we talk about the principles of mindset, strategy, and execution. This week, we're adding a fourth, faith. You're going to hear from a mother and daughter duo who are helping thousands of Black women build wealth, all through their faith.
You are more than you can ever imagine. Not just obtaining things to show that, but seeing yourself.
Making your faith work for you. That's right here on Get Wealthy, only on Black Star Network.
This week on the other side of change.
300,000 Black women being pushed out of the workforce.
This is shocking yet unsurprising.
So what happens when a bunch of Black mothers lose their federal job? Their kids are not being fed. Their kids are not being taken care of. But that trickles down to the entire community structure, which may be built on the backs of Black mothers and Black women more broadly.
Tune in on The Other Side of Change, only on the Black Star Network.
Next on A Balanced Life, here on Black Star Network, we're talking what it means to be a balanced young adult and turning 21. I know 21 is one of those ages where you think you're grown. You can do whatever you want. The law says that you can. But what are you packing in your 21-year-old toolkit that will allow you to not only survive, but to thrive?
You have every right to make whatever decision that you want to make, okay? Because you're grown. Don't go out here and do something and then want to come back and expect somebody else to clean it up for you.
That's all this week on A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie here on Black Star Network.
Now that Roland Martin is willing to give me the blueprint, hey, Cyrus, I need to go to Tyler Perry and get another blueprint because I need some green money. The only way I can do what I'm doing, I need to make some money. So you'll see me working with Roland. Matter of fact, it's the Roland Martin and Cheryl Underwood show. Well, should it be the Cheryl Underwood show and the Roland Martin show? Well, whatever show it's going to be good.
All right, folks, of course, if you go to shopblackstarnetwork.com, you'll see all of the products of various businesses that we support. Let's get a shot of that with the products on my desk, my news desk in our studios in Washington, D.C. In terms of so many different products that we have on there, shirts, popcorn, we have treats, toilet paper, leafy as well. So if you go, all the products on shopblackstarnetwork.com, shopblackstarnetwork.com. Today, though, we're talking about JohnTom's barbecue. It began as a cherished family recipe, slow smoked and passed down through generations. Now, LaFay Beguse is taking that legacy from backyard pits to store shelves nationwide. It's a story of family flavor and Black entrepreneurship. LaFay is the president and CEO of JohnTom's Barbecue. Hey, man, how you doing?
Doing well. How are you?
Doing great. So the origin of JohnTom's, okay, where does the name come from?
John Tom is my grandpa. It's his first and middle name, and it's what his family affectionately called him. They were Southern from Mississippi, so they pronounced it JohnTom. But yes, John Tom is his first and middle name. He had created a barbecue. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say he had created a barbecue sauce, I think before I was born. So I grew up with this barbecue sauce. The whole family did. And he took it to the grave with him. We realized that when he passed away that there was no recipe. He never wrote it down. So that's kind of how I got involved. When I was in college, I just decided that I was going to try to recreate or reverse engineer his recipe just based off of memory of what he put in it. But I had no formula. So that's how I got here.
Got it. And so how did you piece it back together? How did you, I mean, were you talking to other family members? Were trying to get people to remember watching him actually do it? How did you do that?
So I spent significant time with my grandfather when I was younger. And so I was there most of the times when he would make it. But yeah, you're correct. My aunties, I called them and I told them I had this idea to try to make his sauce. And so I wrote down what I remember, and then I asked them if it was something I was missing. So they told me what I was missing, and I just went to the store and start throwing stuff in a pot. Roland, this went on for nearly 5 years. It became a hobby of mine. I didn't quite get his recipe, but I came up with something that I was pretty proud of, and I let people taste it. They loved it. And so I never thought I would start a business. It was just a hobby. But I guess enough people convinced me that I needed to do something with this sauce that I had, and I did.
All right, and so then all of a sudden, so you did the sauce, and then what was next? What caused you to say, all right, you know what? I want to now take this thing national. I want to make it a product for other people to taste.
So I was living in Milwaukee, and I was a television news reporter at one of the news stations there. And our general manager walked into the newsroom one day and gave it to us direct, told us that they were stopping news operations and that all the on-air talent, we would be losing our jobs. And so that's when I decided, really thought about which direction I wanted to go. I kind of thought in the back of my head that starting a barbecue sauce business is something that I could do when I retire, right? When I would have time. But when I was told that we were losing our jobs, I really started to think, why not now? So I thought about it for a few weeks and landed on the decision that I wanted to do that. I wanted to move back to my hometown and start this business. I just had one person to get that by, and that was my wife. She didn't know I was thinking about this. So I approached her, and I said, don't think I'm crazy, but what do you think if we move back to our hometown and I start this barbecue sauce business? And without hesitation, she said, let's do it. So once I got her blessing, it was just full steam ahead. I have two business partners. One of them is my first cousin. He shares the same grandpa. And he called me one night just checking on me because he knew I was losing my job. And I shared with him that I was going to start this business. And he said, cuz, you need some help? And I said, I do. And he has a marketing background. And then I said, one more person I want to pull into this if we're going to do it. And that was my best friend, Rodney Robinson. My cousin's name is Terrell Cooper. So I approached Rodney with it. He tasted it and was immediately in. He said, I'm in. And so that was our team.
So, look, oftentimes in our segment, we often talk with folks about the product and they're selling it and want people to buy it. But a lot of people just don't understand when you start talking about a product like this here. I mean, you now got to you talk about labeling. How's it preserved? Where do you manufacture it? All those different things. Cost of product. What type of bottle? Size of bottle. Cost. All this sort of stuff. And so when you were doing your market research, what was that like? And also, where do you manufacture your barbecue sauce?
Okay, so doing the research, we quickly realized that the barbecue sauce sector is pretty oversaturated. There's 1,000,001.
Oh yeah, it's a whole lot of barbecue sauces out there.
A lot of them. And so at first, when we trying to figure out, okay, so where do we make this? Back then, kitchen incubators were just starting to pop up, shared kitchens. And so we found one in Indiana, and, we went, they trained us how to take my little kitchen recipe and scale that up a little bit.
Right.
It was an FDA approved facility, so we could sell it to the public. And then eventually, when we outgrew that, we got on with a co-packer, which is a facility that they take our recipe, they scale it up very, very big. And then, from there, they handle all the production from A to Z. They, from the labels to the bottles, making the product. And then once that's done, they ship it to my warehouse, and my distributors, they pick off of our inventory.
All right, then. Questions from the panel. Let's see here. Mustafa, you first.
Yeah, well, congratulations. I see that Hoosier Heat and the Sneaky Hot. I'm wondering which one of them brings the most fire.
The Hoosier Heat. The Hoosier Heat brings the most fire. The Sneaky Hot, it's crazy because when we first started, I had two flavors, and that was the original and the Sneaky Hot. The Sneaky Hot, my first crack at it was much spicier than it is now. And I got some feedback from someone that said, hey, look, man, you live in Indiana. You might want to scale that down. So I did. But over the years, people's palates started changing, and they were asking for a spicier version. So we delivered, and we created the Hoosier Heat. It's not crazy hot. It's not like ghost pepper habanero, but I think it's a perfect heat to complement the flavor.
Randy.
As a fellow entrepreneur, I know that there are ups and downs when it comes to running and owning a business. What lesson did you get from your grandfather that he either told you directly or you saw from observing him that has helped you with your business today that honors him?
Great question. My grandfather was the hardest worker. He and his family, they were all from Mississippi. They migrated up north, just looking for better opportunities. And he just brought with him this work ethic. He had plots of land around the city where he would maintain about 3 or 4 gardens. Would have me up on the weekends in the garden picking weeds and picking beans and tomatoes. I just saw my grandfather really work hard, and the things that he did, he was always passionate about. Barbecue was his passion. Before it was trendy, smoking meat and making barbecue sauce. And so I grew up around that. I grew up very close to my grandfather. So, and it's funny because my family say I act like him. So I was taking all those cues, not knowing I was, but I was taking a lot of cues from him growing up.
Well, I salute you. Congratulations. I know your grandfather would be extremely proud.
Yeah, I always say I just wish he could see it.
Joe?
We went kind of a different direction, and instead of really going retail hard, we decided to go after your food service accounts. So most major sporting venues in Indiana, you'll find our barbecue sauce there. So if you go to a Colts game, we're there. If you go to a Pacers Fever game, we're there. If you go to Notre Dame game, Purdue, IU, Ball State, we're there. So we kind of chose that lane because we saw nobody else you had a barbecue sauce doing that. So those are the kind of accounts that we go after.
Fantastic.
Joe?
Great. Congratulations on everything that you're doing. I was looking on the list there, and I saw that you guys are just about everywhere in Indiana. I've got a daughter in Louisville, Kentucky. So let me know if and when you guys have any plans to get across state lines.
Yes, absolutely. I will do. We actually did a activation at Churchill Downs on the anniversary a couple years ago. So we were fortunate and blessed enough to have our sauce there for that running. But yeah, that's one thing that we're really doing is starting to cross those state borders and become more of a regional presence.
Excellent. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, then. So, folks, check out the product, JohnTom's Barbecue. It's on shopblackstarnetwork.com. Give me a shot of it again. This is a live look of the shot. We have it there on our news desk. This is the website right here. So you go to shopblackstarnetwork.com. This is what the bottles look like in real time. Let's not go to the website. So if you go to shopblackstarnetwork.com, you can try the barbecue sauces. 4 different sauces there, and we certainly want y'all to try those. And, of course, other products as well. LaFave, man, we appreciate it. Good luck with the company, and thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
All right, appreciate it. Thanks a bunch. All right, folks, final story of the day. Oh, Lord, the crackers are now happy because Cracker Barrel has now cracked. So pull up the tweet. Cracker Barrel, y'all, posted this tweet. Donald Trump, of course, complained, said they should go back to their old logo. And they said, we thank our guests for sharing your voices and love for Cracker Barrel. We said we will listen, and we have. Our new logo is going away, and our old-timer will remain. At Cracker Barrel, it's always been and always will be about serving up delicious food, warm welcomes, and the kind of country hospitality that feels like family. As a proud American institution, our 70,000 hard-working employees look forward to welcoming you to our table. So they are so happy that the white man is back, sitting next to the barrel in his comfortable chair. Oh, Randy, what shall we do?
Ooh, I've had a time enjoying watching their meltdowns. I mean, these kind of things matter a lot to these people. When they uncrackered that barrel, people were upset. But I tried to get some sympathy. I did a video about it. They first took away remember they had the indigenous woman on Land O'Lakes butter, and they took her away. And I, read how people were upset about them taking the Indian maiden. That's what they were calling her. Then you think about they took Aunt Jemima away. They took Uncle Ben's, the guy on Uncle Ben's. So they have gone. We do have to have some sympathy. Because these folks have had to go through a lot as they have created a world that's more respectful of other people. And, when you're used to being, and think of yourself as when you're used to being privileged, when you don't get your way, it feels like oppression. They're having a hard time. I have been absolutely tickled by watching their responses.
What we going to do, Joe? Cracker Barrel cracked.
Well, I wasn't much for pulling up on Cracker Barrel anyway, but, I'd rather go to a nice local country cooking type of spot. There's plenty of them right now. I'll go ahead and shout out Pat's Place in San Bernardino. They're doing their thing. Check them out. You don't have to go to Cracker Barrel, and there's nobody on the sign. okay? And a brother owns it, okay? So just do that, all right? Or just anywhere USA, just put them in the chat right now, the place you want to go instead of Cracker Barrel. They're trying to hold on to this white cat, you know, because, again, you know, it's 2042, 2043, they get ready to be outnumbered. So the least we can do is keep the barrel and the white guy on the sign. Okay, you go ahead and do that, but I'll go to Pat's place, or I'll go to this place or that place. Hell, I might even go to KFC or Popeyes. Okay, there's other stuff you can do. You don't have to go to Cracker Barrel. You don't have to stand for this, okay? But life is going to go on. I want everybody to be encouraged that regardless of who's on the sign, it doesn't mean that you have to go. So go on and pull up somewhere else and do that thing. God bless you.
Joe.
Mustafa. I'm sorry, go ahead, Randy.
No, I'm just saying, where can they go? Because they want to feel like it's the good old days. They want to go to the days where it's the good old days. You know, they want to make America great again. They need places like that.
It's hard. I mean, you know, but, you know, sometimes it goes down. And so, you know, I guess you can always close your eyes and keep tunnel vision on Fox News and get your Cracker Barrel to go. And then you can watch it, and then everything can be good. But hey, the rest of us don't have to go. So we'll see how Cracker Barrel actually does. They probably did their marketing change for a reason, right? It's not because things were going as great as they needed to be necessarily, probably because they wanted to grow. Somebody wanted to turn the corner, or somebody's thought. But we'll see what's happening. I'm not going to lose a whole lot of sleep over it one way or the other. Let's switch gears and keep it moving forward. Things are still changing around you, regardless of what you put on regardless of whether you got the white guy on the barrel on the wall, things are changing. And that's just where it is.
I literally don't give a damn, Mustafa, about no Cracker Barrel logo.
Right. Yeah, I'm right there with you.
I was going to say Cracker Barrel, Cracker Barrel, Cracker Barrel. All those millions of dollars is still in Cracker Barrel. Do what you
want. Yeah. You know, cracker, that word's a little bit of a turnoff, dare I say, So maybe I'll go somewhere else anyway.
Mustafa, go with your comment.
I already said what I had to say. Cracker Barrel, Cracker Barrel, Cracker Barrel. So it's just not.
I'm gonna go Chris Rock. Oh, Cracker Barrel. All right, y'all. Control room. Did y'all get? I saw these three different takes on the Cracker Barrel logo. Oh my God, I thought it was hilarious. I'm gonna start with the Waffle House one first. So let me know when y'all got the Waffle House. These three are hilarious, y'all. I saw them and I said, and again, I don't give two shits. I don't give one. I don't give a point. I don't give a 0.5. So this I thought was pretty cool. Waffle House, we throw hands. So I thought that was a pretty good one right there. Let's see. Show the next one. Release the files. I thought that one was pretty good. And the last one, y'all, because remember, these logos were removed, and the white folks been so mad. So the black man on the cream of wheat, Aunt Jemima, the Indian woman on Land O'Lakes, and Uncle Ben. And then it says, "Welcome, Cracker. Just coming to say hi. I'm a head back now." Oh my goodness, that one was just too funny. That one was just too funny. And there we go. My goodness. All right, y'all. That is it for us. Let me thank Joe. Let me thank Randy. Let me thank Mustafa for being on today's show. I appreciate it, folks. I'm back in studio tomorrow in D.C. I'll be saving till tomorrow my Chris Tucker stuff from the golf tournament on yesterday. Look forward to that. And so I've had some great meetings, some other business stuff happening here in D.C. Excuse me, in Atlanta. I've been having a good time. So back in studio tomorrow. All right, folks, don't forget, support the work that we do. Join our Breed of Funk fan club. Your dollars are critically important for us to continue to do the work that we do. So please do us a favor. Join our Brina Funk fan club. Oh, while we're sitting here, listen, y'all YouTube people, we ain't hit 2,000 likes yet. I don't understand. A whole bunch of y'all commenting. Y'all got lots of stuff to say. But come on, let's go and get these comments in here. Hit the like button, okay? When I get done, I should have more than 2,000, okay? Support our work. If you want to use Cash App, use the Stripe QR code. This is the QR code right here. You can also use this QR code for credit cards as well. Click the Cash App Pay button to contribute. Checks and money order. Make them payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered. P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 2003 7-0196. PayPal's R Martin Unfiltered, Venmo RM Unfiltered, Zelle Roland at RolandSMartin.com, Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Download the Black Star Network app, Apple phone, Android phone, Apple TV, Android TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Xbox One, Samsung Smart TV. You can also, of course, be sure to get my book, White Fear, How the Browning of America is Making White Folks Lose Their Minds. Available at bookstores nationwide. Get it right here, get it right here, get it right here. And then also, get the audio version I read on Audible. Get our Black Star Network, Roland Martin Unfiltered swag. You can see all of that, folks, at shopblackstarnetwork.com. Our shirts, Walmart, mugs, all kind of stuff. You get it right there. You see a QR code there. Black-owned products in our marketplace, shopblackstarnetwork.com. Check it out. We just had, of course, the barbecue sauce. Let's have the other products. Go to shopblackstarnetwork.com in our marketplace segment. You see all those products and more at shopblackstarnetwork.com. And, of course, don't forget, folks, we want you to download Fanbase. Download the app Fanbase. Get the app Fanbase. Audio rooms, video chat, got live streaming as well. All of that available on Fanbase. Some new stuff coming down the pipeline as well. They've raised about $13 million, about $4 million left in the Series A raise. And if you want to invest, go to startengine.com/fanbase. Startengine.com/fanbase. All right, y'all. That's it. I'll see y'all tomorrow right here. Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Holla!